This is For the Love of Sports on Fox Sports 980 and 95.9 FM, as well as the free iHeartRadio app. Thank you for tuning in, however, you may be tuning in, whether it's on 980 AM, 95 FM, or our free iHeartRadio app. So, I want to start off with something that I think is absolutely disgraceful for NFL owners. I think it's a great thing that the NFL commissioner's trying to do. But I think this looks horrid, horrid on the NFL owners. It's about time that we finally step up to the plate on this injustice in the NFL. Absolute injustice. And it starts with the owners. And it's sad that we have to move this way. But the NFL is considering improving draft picks for teams that hire minority candidates as either head coaches or general managers, a source confirmed to ESPN. Now, obviously, you have to vote on this. So the voting will be taking place on Tuesday. They need 20 out of the 32 to pass, or they need two-thirds of it to pass it. So 24 out of 32 to pass this voting that will be on Tuesday from the owners. If you want to call into the show, 518-690-0980, 518-690-0980. You take a look at the landscape of the NFL right now. There are about 4 minority head coaches and 2 minority GMs. So what the NFL has decided to do, Commissioner Goodell has had enough of this. So Commissioner is in favor of the proposal, with the diversity committee trying to incentivize teams with a stronger plan. 3 of the past 20 NFL head coaching hires were minorities, while 2 of the NFL's 32 general managers are minorities. The league declined to comment to NFL.com on this story, but it's supposed to vote Tuesday during a virtual meeting with all the team owners. Must take 24 out of 32 votes to pass. Now, let's take a look at it from the NFL side. What you could look at it is bribery to hire a minority head coach, whether they be black, Asian, Korean, whatever the deal is. You can take a look at it as bribery. The way that I think myself and a lot of other people, maybe the minorities, will look at it as is there's 2 sides to it. They can look at it on a bright side like, hey, I'm finally getting my name involved. I'm going to get more interviews. Maybe I'd be taking a little more serious. And however I may get that job, when I put my brain to that job, when I put my power to that job, I'm going to make sure it stays my job. So there's that way to look at it. Or there's another way of, is this owner really hiring me because he thinks I'm the best fit for this team? Or are they hiring me because they want that 3rd round pick to go from late 3rd round to mid 3rd round, or a 5th round pick into a 4th round pick? So the proposal to fix the league-wide minority issue is to have an improved 3rd round draft pick, up to 16 picks, going up 10 spots for hiring a minority candidate as general manager or equivalent level position, and 6 spots for hiring a minority head coach. So you put those 2, you can go up 16 picks. Now, I think it's disgraceful on the owners that we really have to go this way. You know, you had guys like Wilbon come out, Michael Wilbon of Pardon the Interruption, come out and say it's embarrassing for the league to have to move this way. You know, Jackie Robinson was however many years ago, 70 years ago. What are we even talking about here? Why are we talking about the fact that it's very difficult to minorities to get a job? And then when you get minority head coaches like Lovie Smith and those guys, they're in and out so quickly that you forget they were even head coaches. Their leash on minority head coaches and minority GMs are about this long. Very short. Very short. If you want to call into the show, if you have something to say about this, 518-690-0980, 518-690-0980. Also live on Fox Sports 980 Facebook page. If you feel more comfortable commenting in on there, I could take your comments live on air as well. But I really think this is a disgrace for the owners. You take a look at everything around them, all the progress that we've made as a country, and it's sad that candidates that are minorities cannot get that equivalent look at that white folks usually do. And I think a lot of it has to do with more of the comfortability with these people as opposed to the color. But I think this is going to get this talk started. Is this the right way to go about it? Probably not. But it's to get the conversation started. Like you and your friends want to start up a business, you chuck out stupid ideas, but it eventually leads you to a good idea. And I think that's what the NFL is trying to do. They're throwing out some ideas and hope that it produces better ideas. But as of now, this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to incentivize owners to hire black coaches and black GMs. I like the idea of that. I think it's commendable. I think it's about time that we take these guys serious because there are a lot of minority athletes that turn into head coaches, and there's a lot of minority head coaches that are just as smart or more smart and more prepared for a job as opposed to others. And it's not fair that they don't quite get the recognition that they deserved and earned. They don't need to be fighting. There's only 32 GM jobs, there's only 32 head coaching jobs. It's bad enough that they have to fight other coaches for a job or other GMs for a job. They shouldn't have to fight against being black as well. That's disgraceful that the owners, we currently have 6 minority figures in powerful positions, 4 head coaches, one, two, three, four, and 2 GMs. So I think it's disgraceful at the fact that these guys don't get jobs. This is kind of expanding on the Rooney Rule, where you kind of just bring in a minority to interview to get onto your real candidate. So I think a lot of the issue is the fact that maybe they don't want to take a chance on these guys, only for the simple fact, not because they're minorities, but because some of the it's hard to talk about this. Some of the white folks have been ingrained in the game and have created relationships. Like when you take a look at radio, it's all about who you know, how you know them, and how well you know them. Same thing comes to the NFL. When these owners are hiring guys for their general manager job or their head coach job, it's based on what some other person says. It's based on their comfortability level with them. And if I had the audio here, Lewis Riddick talked about on Sports Center yesterday how a lot of it is these minorities are going into job interviews as for a GM position or a head coach position or vice president of operations, whatever the position is. And it's their first time meeting these owners. It's their first time talking to these owners, as opposed to other guys that have been in the game for so long that they get hired based on their comfortability level and not necessarily their ability to do the job. So I think Lewis Riddick was right on in that point of view. Tony Kornheiser went out and called it like a game show, like, hey, hire a black coach and you get a brand new car. It's sad that we have to think of it this way. Hire a black coach and you get a third round pick. Like, that's not how the NFL should work. I'm all for hiring the best person for the job, regardless of race, regardless of sex, sexual orientation, whatever the case may be. If they're the best fit for the job, they need to get that job. They've earned that job. They've worked hard for it. You can bring them in for an interview. You need to take them serious. Now you're going to have minorities coming into a position of whether it's head coach or GM or whatever the case may be and saying, scratching their heads. Are you hiring me because I'm the best fit for the job? Do you think I can make this team and mold them into the team I want it to be? Or are you hiring me because your team's on the down and outs and you need a good draft pick to really boost you up? That's really what these guys are going to be thinking. It's disgraceful that the owners have to be pushed to hiring more minority figures. And like I talked about, some of it's comfortability level. Some of it's really comfortability level because these guys just keep getting floated around. How many times have we seen the same head coach fail, and then get another job, fail, get another job. These guys get multiple opportunities, while some people that are well deserved and well earned don't get quite the opportunity. You take a look at Lovey Smith, in and out in a couple of years. You take a look at the Chargers head coach. He's already on the hot seat. Anthony Lynn over there. So when these guys do get jobs, they're on a short leash to begin with. I think it's very disgraceful, but it's commendable the way that the NFL is trying to do it. They're trying to get more minorities involved because they know there's guys that are well fit for the job that aren't getting the job. So that's a great job by the NFL to just kind of get the ball rolling. And that's the way to look at it. Not as a racist thing, not as the NFL looks racist and is bribing teams to hire minorities or black folks or whatever you want to call it. It's really to get the ball rolling. It's, hey, maybe you didn't look this way for whatever reason, but these guys are really capable of doing the job. They're just as smart, intelligent, and prepared as anybody else in the league. You take a look at Andrew Berry that just got hired by the Cleveland Browns. He was in the Eagles organization for quite a long time. He's a minority. He's earned his job. He's come up. He's very young. And the Browns said, you know what? This is a young guy with a great organization. He's worked his way up the totem pole. Let's hire him. We need more teams like that. Now, it remains to be seen how much of an impact and how long of a leash that Andrew Berry will have with the general manager position of the Cleveland Browns. But this is something to get the ball rolling. We're talking about it. I'm talking about it. You guys are going to be talking about it. Get the ball rolling. Yeah, maybe it doesn't pass, but somebody comes up with a better idea. Like, hey, we're going to equal it out where you bring in 3 minorities and 3 non-minorities, and you really pick the best candidate available for the job. Whatever the case may be, this is just kind of getting the ball rolling. But it's really despicable that the owners have to be pushed in this manner to really take minority candidates seriously. This is For the Love of Sports on Fox Sports 980 and 95.9 FM, as well as our free iHeartRadio app. If you want to call into the show, the number is 518-690-0980, 518-690-0980. Also live on Facebook if you want to comment in on there. I'll take your comments live on air. Coming up in 4 minutes, Tompa Bay Gronkaneers. Coronavirus affecting the way that these guys are going to practice, as well as other teams. Is Tom Brady at a disadvantage from not being able to meet with Bruce Arians and get in touch with his teammates? We'll talk about that next. This is For the Love of Sports on Fox Sports 980 and 95.9 FM.
Of 2020 with an all-star commencement speaker lineup from Bill and Melinda Gates to Eli Manning, Tom Brokaw to Apple's Tim Cook. Hear them all right here tonight, and check out the full podcast on our free iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio's new podcast, Commencement, honors the class of 2020 because they know the brightest moments are yet to come. So make sure your voice is heard and be counted at 2020census.gov, because with that one act, you can help shape the next 10 years.
These days, being a small business means navigating uncertainty in a constantly changing situation. So if you're looking for one trusted source that will keep you informed daily, visit the iHeartRadio Small Business Crisis Resource. There you'll find small business resources to help you get through this, including the latest info on loans, grants, and other forms of relief. You'll also see stories about small businesses making a difference. So let's get through this together. Visit iHeart.com/smallbusiness today. That's iHeart.com/smallbusiness.
Fridge had enough after the extra action in the house these last several weeks. Now you have an excuse to get the new one you've been wanting. Lowe's can help with up to 40% off select appliances during our appliance savings event, including an LG InstaView side-by-side refrigerator for $12.99. With a generous amount of space, you'll have even more room to store your family's favorites. Get it fast by ordering at Lowe's.com or via our app. Best part, we're offering 12-month special financing and free delivery. Offers valid through 6/3. Free local delivery and credit applies to appliances $2.99 or more. Subject to credit approval, exclusions apply. U.S. only.
Alex,
The class of 2020
come on.
had a piece of their journey taken.
You're telling me Pete Carroll, the first time that he came in, he had a horrible record? Didn't he get hired again? Yeah. You take a look at other guys. You take a look at Bill Belichick with the Browns. He had a bad record as well. He got hired again.
Accept that this crisis sucks. It does.
It's not just about Lovey and Anthony Lynn. It's about the minority as a whole not getting the opportunity.
Adopt US Kids presents multiple.
You take a look at these guys that, yeah, maybe their record says otherwise, but you take a look at the teams that they're taking it over,
And for Sheila,
they're not getting good
she has
teams.
plans.
B. Console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe.
A lot of
5
jobs that
years.
are opened up in the NFL
C. Take
are
charge.
jobs that are available because the teams aren't that great. Not many coaches get to pick a great situation for themselves.
Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D. Help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet.
You're not going to see the Kansas City Chiefs job open up, are you? No.
Never mind.
You're going to see teams like the Cleveland Browns open up.
But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent.
It is a horrible discussion that we have to have. In this day and age, it shouldn't be about minority. I agree with you, Alex.
Public service announcement from the U.S. Department of
I also agree they had bad records, but it's just to get the ball rolling. We need to be talking about this.
Your allergy meds. Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of ink, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison
The
Helpline.
fact
Have
is,
you been bitten by a
minorities
spider, a snake,
are getting
a
the same
Call
bad
the
jobs
Poison Helpline.
that
Poisonings
the
can happen
non-minorities
on
are
the
getting
job
and
or
getting
in a
shorter
bad place.
leashes.
Call
It's
the
not
Poison
fair.
Helpline
It's
first
not
for
right,
fast, free
and it
advice
needs
from
to be
medical
stopped.
professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Fox Sports 980, now on 95.9 FM.
This is For the Love of Sports on Fox Sports 980, 95.9 FM, as well as our free iHeartRadio app. If you want to get in touch with the show, 518-690-0980, 518-690-0980. You want to get in touch via comments. We're live on Facebook, so go on Fox Sports 980. Go on Facebook. You can comment on the live video right there. Alex already commenting in, talking about the minority coaches. He did bring up a good point. Lovie Smith, Anthony Lynn, both have bad records, but you take a look at that team that Anthony Lynn has taken over. You have a very aging Phillip Rivers that actually left the team. Now we have a young quarterback coming in, taking the place of an aging Phillip Rivers. So how long is Anthony Lynn going to get? You take a look at other guys. When they bring in rookie quarterbacks, they get about 3 years, 2-3 years. How long is Anthony Lynn going to get with a rookie quarterback at the helm? Is he going to get an extra 2-3 years? That remains to be seen. It's just something to get the ball rolling. I know it's not right. I know it shouldn't be this way in 2020. We shouldn't even be having this discussion. Best fit for the job. End of discussion. Moving on to the Tompa Bay Gronkaneers. Coronavirus has affected a lot of things, especially in the capital region. You might have racetrack opening up without fans. You might not even have the racetrack open up in general. Is it worth it to bring people up from the Belmont racing area, where it's kind of a hot spot, up into Saratoga with all those contracted coronaviruses? Is it worth it? We don't know. Are the Tri-City Valley Cats going to be able to open up? I talked to the general manager on Friday. He talked about how all plans are a go. They haven't heard any delay or no fans or anything of that nature. So they're in full swing from their houses, from the comfortability of their houses. They are trying to get this season progressed in the right way and hopefully with fans for the Tri-City Valley Cats. You know, SPACs looking like that, it might not open up. We have a lot of things affected. Another thing affected in the NFL is these rookies are going to fall behind a little bit. They're already coming in behind the 8 ball. You also got players switching teams, whether they're a wide receiver or running back, or especially quarterback like Tom Brady. So Tom Brady's switching from the New England Patriots, where he's had so much sustainable success. Him and Bill Belichick, one of the greatest 1-2 punches of all time. Whether you think one can do it without the other or one can't do it without the other. That's the greatest 1-2 punch of all time. Now you have Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay Buccaneers. See, it's hard to say without saying Tompa Bay Gronkaneers. I think we're onto something there. But you have Bruce Arians, a guy that believes in throwing it down the field. So a new head coach, a new offensive system, a new organization, new players. The only person brought in that he's going to really know is Gronk. And he's had a year or two off from Gronkowski. Yeah, they've remained a relationship, but we don't know. Have they been throwing the ball? Are they allowed to throw the ball? It's just the way that this coronavirus is affecting more than just the fans in the stands. It's going to affect the game as well. These guys aren't going to be able to practice the way they want to practice. You got a guy like Tom Brady that's been in the same system. He's had the same offensive coordinator. Josh McDaniels has been there since pretty much day one. Not 20 years, but he's been there for quite a long time. And him and Tom Brady have created a great relationship. Now he's going to Arizona or to Tampa Bay with Bruce Arians as his head coach. Different offensive scheme, different offensive players. You don't have Julian Edelman anymore. Now you got Mike Evans. You have Chris Godwin. You have Ronald Jones in the backfield. You have Cameron Brate. You have Rob Gronkowski, which he does know but hasn't been playing with in the last couple of years. You have O.J. Howard. Now, a lot of people are expecting this to affect the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm here to tell you, go back to the New England days. They weren't that long ago. What was one of the best things that Bill Belichick does as a head coach? He adjusts, whether it's in-game adjustments or weekly adjustments, he adjusts. You know what also adjusts? The offensive game plan. So he was never running the same offensive game plan week to week. It wasn't like, hey, we're going to run the ball 30 times every single game. No, there was games where they were throwing the ball 50 times and the running back screen was part of their run game. They changed up their offensive game plan more than most of you guys, I don't know, change your AC filters. Maybe that's a bad example because a lot of people don't change their AC filters very often. But you get the point. They change up their game plan very much. So it wasn't like Tom Brady hasn't been able to adapt. Then you take a look at the weapons that he had to throw to last year. He had a injured Julian Edelman that still had 100 catches and over 1,000 yards. An injured Julian Edelman that was getting double teamed consistently because there was nobody else that could ball out. There's nobody else. So you had Julian Edelman hobbling, getting 100 catches for over 1,000 yards. After that, the next closest to Julian Edelman, James White, a running back with 72 catches for 645 yards, an average of 9 yards a catch. Philip Dorsett, everybody's talking about how great Philip Dorsett is. Oh my God, it's Philip Dorsett. Well, guess what? Philip Dorsett, 29 catches, 397 yards. Jacoby Myers, a guy that was supposed to exclusively play special teams and get a couple of snaps on the offensive side of the ball, that was still progressing as a wide receiver. 26 catches. Josh Gordon. When Josh Gordon was there, I mean, he only had 20 catches for just under 300 yards, but the impact that he had on that offense, they were undefeated with Josh there. Rex Burkhead, another running back, 27 catches. Mohamed Sanu, 26 catches. Ben Watson, they never filled that tight end position. Ben Watson and Matt Lacoste together had 30 receptions. Gronk can get that in 2 games, 3 games at max. Then you had other guys like Brandon Bolden, another running back. N'Keal Harry, a rookie out of ASU, who was injured the first half of the year and then came in. He was behind the 8 ball. Sony Michel, not known for catching the ball, only 12 catches on the year. Gunnar Olszewski, who's expecting him to do anything? When Jacoby Myers is your most consistent number 2 wide receiver, there's an issue there. So, though the coronavirus may be affecting the way that they practice, he's going to have a lot more competent weapons in Tampa Bay. He's used to changing his game plan up. And you take a look at what kind of effect that these guys had. You take a look at these stats for Tom Brady. Last year, he still threw for over 4,000 yards. They still went 12-4 for as bad and as old as Tom Brady is. Yeah, his arm strength isn't quite what it was. You may be 30, 35, 40, 45 out there. Was your arm strength at 45 what it was when you were 21? I highly doubt it. So yeah, it's only a natural aging thing where his arm isn't quite the talent that it used to be. He still threw for 4,000 yards. He still led them to a 12-4 record. And I know that defense was really stout. I'm going to give you that. The defense was really stout. But you take a look when Josh Gordon was there and Julian Edelman was there. Even if Josh Gordon wasn't involved in that game, he had that big of an impact. When he had weapons, they got off to a hot start. Once they lost their weapons, Patriots were not that great. Once the Patriots lost their weapons, once they get rid of Josh Gordon, they're a completely different team. Completely different team. 6-0 with Josh Gordon, 6-4 without him. That's just to put that in perspective for you. He still threw over 4,000 yards. One stat that sticks out the most, and I think this is a stat that's not getting talked about a lot, 6.6 yards per an attempt. That's nearly a yard below his average. He averages 7.5 yards per attempt. And last year it was 6.6. The year before that, 7.6. The year before that, 7.9. The year before that, 8.2. The year before that, 7.6. You get the point. This was the lowest in his career since 2002. 2002, his second year as a starter. The lowest since then. 6.6 yards per attempt. Two things. One, his offensive line wasn't protecting him. Two, he couldn't count on wide receivers to get open deep. He wasn't afforded the time to allow these guys to get open, and they weren't getting open past the line of scrimmage. So you've seen a lot of bubble screens. You've seen a lot of wide receiver screens. You've seen a lot of slants because that's all these guys could do. Half of you probably don't even know who Gunnar O is or Jacoby Myers is. You hear Philip Dorsett, you're like, oh, he's got Philip Dorsett. He's got Mohamed Sanu. This isn't the same Mohamed Sanu. This isn't the same Philip Dorsett. Philip Dorsett is a bust in the NFL. A bust. Mohamed Sanu, his better days are way behind him. This is a complicated system. Another reason why Tom Brady is going to succeed elsewhere. This is a complicated system that you don't just pick up in 2 games. So when they go ahead and make that trade for Mohamed Sanu, yeah, that might help more this year than it did last year because he's been there for a while. Now he can learn the playbook. Now he can learn his role. What's Bill Belichick's mantra? Do your job. It's hard to do your job when you don't really understand what your job is. If I just give you a sheet of paper that says, build this gazebo in the back, I don't tell you what material to use. I don't tell you anything out of the ordinary. I just say, here's this piece of paper on how to build this gazebo. Do it however you want. It's going to take a while. You're going to have to do some studying. You're going to have to go on YouTube. You're going to have to search things. Well, guess what? Same thing. If I give you the playbook, you got to practice with me. You got to understand. You got to get that connection with Tom Brady. You have to get that connection with Bill Belichick. You got to get that connection with Josh McDaniels. It's not a just plug and play league. especially with a complicated system that the Patriots run. Now, Bruce Arians isn't going to run as complicated as a system as they did in New England. And you're telling me that Tom Brady, with the same exact weapons that Jameis Winston threw for over 5,000 yards in 30 touchdowns, that Tom Brady's not going to be able to produce wins? The only thing that worries me about this Tampa Bay team is the fact that their defense is so young. They got Antoine Winfield Jr. in a draft. That's their big piece on the defensive side of the ball. How long is it going to take him to get acclimated to the team, get acclimated to the defense, get that team chemistry going where they can rely and trust one another? I'm going to get beat over the middle. That's okay. Antoine Winfield Jr. will be there. How long before they form that relationship? If you want to call into the show, 518-690-0980. 518-690-0980. Coming up in 4 minutes. Let's play a game of over-under. Caesars Sportsbook came out with their over-unders for team projected wins for every single NFL team. Let's get into that next. This is For the Love of Sports on Fox Sports 980, 95.9 FM.
Graduating is a huge step for the class of 2020, and while it may look a little different this year, it doesn't take away from everything you've accomplished. That's why iHeartRadio and State Farm teamed up for Commencement, a podcast to give you some neighborly wisdom from the biggest names in music, entertainment, and more to help you today and in the future. The Commencement podcast is brought to you by State Farm. Listen to iHeartRadio's new podcast, Commencement. Speeches are out now on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
These days, being a small business means navigating uncertainty in a constantly changing situation. So if you're looking for one trusted source that will keep you informed daily, visit the iHeartRadio Small Business Crisis Resource. There you'll find small business resources to help you get through this, including the latest info on loans, grants, and other forms of relief. You'll also see stories about small businesses making a difference. So let's get through this together. Visit iHeart.com/smallbusiness today. That's iHeart.com/smallbusiness.
Fox Sports.
Obstructive sleep apnea may sound
All right,
like
sounds
snoring,
good. I'll put you on hold. What's your
but it
name and
can
where are you
also
calling from?
sound like a car crash.
All right, Nick, I got about 3 minutes if you don't mind holding on till then, okay?
Or cause a fatal car accident.
All right, thanks, man.
20 times more likely to suffer from high blood pressure.
Hey, Alec.
8 times more likely to suffer a stroke.
Give me about 10 minutes. I got another caller coming in, so I'm going to take him first, okay?
While it may only sound like snoring, sleep apnea is a serious and even life-threatening condition. But it can be successfully treated. Consult with an oral and facial surgeon as part of a sleep medicine team to find out if your snoring is more than just snoring.
Over under.
Surgeons are the experts in face, mouth, and jaw.
If you guys want to play, 518-690-0980, 518-690-0980. Also comment on Facebook. Over under. NFC East, AFC East, NFC North, AFC North. You get the point. Got them all right here. Caesars Sportsbook.
Nausea and ringing in their ears. Vestibular disorders affect people of all ages and can impact ability to work, go to school, or just perform everyday tasks like shopping and getting dressed. Because these symptoms are invisible and difficult to describe, they're often overlooked by doctors and dismissed by family and friends. But there is hope. Visit vestibular.org or call 800-837-8428. If you or someone you know has experienced a persistent sense of dizziness or lack of balance, visit vestibular.org to search for a vestibular specialist in your area. The Vestibular Disorders Association can help you discover a life rebalanced. Visit vestibular.org. That's vestibular.org or call 800-837-8428.
Got about a minute and a half.
The world needs more heroes, more action-oriented do-gooders, more here's how I can help, right-hand men and women. The world of sarcoma is no different. And if you're thinking, what is sarcoma? We're glad you're listening. Sarcoma is a rare cancer of the body's soft tissue and bone, a cancer affecting tens of thousands of Americans every year. a cancer that has more than 70 subtypes, many of which require unique treatment options at various stages of discovery, and we lose thousands of lives to sarcoma in the U.S. on a yearly basis. The Sarcoma Foundation of America partners with heroes, do-gooders, and helpers from all walks of life to advocate for sarcoma patients through funded research and widespread awareness efforts. New and more effective sarcoma therapies are out there. We just need to work together.
Over under. Getting hyped for football season.
Now is the time to step up and
Hopefully we get some good football season, buds. It's going to be weird without fans, so hopefully we get fans as well. Here we go.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
This is For the Love of Sports on Fox Sports 980 and 95.9 FM, as well as our free iHeart Radio app. Thank you for tuning in. However you may be tuning in, going to play some over-under for NFL teams. And joining me on the hotline to play some over-under is Nick from Troy. Nick, thanks for joining me on the hotline. Very good. So over-unders, what do you got? What's your team? What do you got for over-under for them? You nailed it right on the head. 9.5 is their over/under. Odds to win the Super Bowl is 11-1. A lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon of the Cowboys once again in the offseason. Can you explain why they do that? Why is there so much hype, besides the fact that they're America's team? Why is there so much hype around this team this coming year? And do you believe in Dak Prescott to finally make that push and make that step to the next level?
That it's just not one person that's making all the plays. That they do have a solid team with a good roster that's very athletic, but the Cowboys have been years. They get where they need to be, and then they always blow it in the end.
Exactly. So for your take on the NFC East, I'm going to run through the list. What do you think the over/under on? So you said Cowboys 9.5, nailed it on the head. What do you think for the Eagles? 9.5. Let's go with the New York Giants. You got Danny Jones, Danny Dimes coming in his second year. They finally get some offensive linemen in there, get some weapons, hopefully healthy. What is the over/under for the New York Giants?
I have to put them at like 6.
Very close, 5.5. And then lastly, but not leastly, actually, if you look at the NFC East, they are leastly. The Washington Redskins, over/under for the Washington Redskins. 4.5, nailed it on the head. I swear, you must be looking into Caesar Sports Books while we're on the phone right now. All right. Yep. The Jets. So if you were listening last week, I actually went on this whole rant of why I think Sam Darnold is the best quarterback in the AFC East, especially with Tom Brady leaving. And that's not to give a shot at Josh Allen. It's just the fact that Sam Darnold has never been able to stay healthy and get a consistent head coach. Now you got a second year of Adam Gase. He doesn't have mono this year. You take a look at the last 8 games or so of Sam Darnold of 2019, and he performed excellent. And he actually got a couple of wins, so I think they're going to carry that momentum into next year. So I'm right on that same bandwagon that you are. I also don't want to count out the Patriots as well. I know a lot of people don't know what's to go with Jared Stidham, but I think this guy is exactly what Bill Belichick looks for in a quarterback. Is that going to translate to wins? We don't quite know yet.
Yeah, we'll have to see with the Patriots. You can never count them out.
Exactly. I appreciate you listening and calling into the show, Nick. Have a great day. Sounds good. Thanks, Nick. That was Nick from Troy playing over-under. If you want to play over-under, feel free to call in 518-690-0980, 518-690-0980. Let's start in the AFC East, as we were just talking about the Bills, Patriots, and Jets and Dolphins. No, not the Dolphins. Okay, so over-under set by Caesar Sportsbook out in Vegas. They have the Bills at 9 wins. I'm going to actually take a push on that. I think the Bills are capable of winning 9 games. I think if they win 10 games, they they clinch that division. That division to me is one of the weaker ones in sports, especially with Tom Brady leaving the AFC East. I think with the Bills, 9 wins is right up their alley. 9-7 could win you the division. Up next, the Patriots at 8.5. That's a good number as well. I'm not ready to count the Patriots out. I know they lost some pieces on the defensive side, but they all also added some pieces on the defensive side. I think they're trying to compete with this new RPO league that you see a lot of quarterbacks and a lot of offensive systems running. So they got quicker, smaller, faster guys on the defensive side of the ball that might not necessarily convert to QB pressures or QB sacks, but will stop the game. The Patriots have always been a bend but don't break mentality on the defensive side of the ball. I think you're going to see more of that. So 8.5. I'm going to actually go with the under. I think they're going to go 8-8. I love Jared Stidham. I think he has all the physical tools and traits, mentally, physically. I just don't know if he can project that and translate that into victories. Jets 6.5. That's very low for the New York Jets. All of these teams in the AFC East have an absolute gauntlet for an NFL schedule this upcoming 2020 season. But like I just talked about, Sam Darnold's not going to have mono. He's got an offensive line now. They went out and signed the best offensive lineman that they could via free agency. Then they bring one in during the draft. They go ahead, they bring Denzel Mims, the wide receiver out of Baylor. He's quick, he's tall. Gives Sam Darnold a true weapon. They still got Jamison Crowder there. He's only getting older, but he's very efficient. You also can open up lanes for Le'Veon Bell. A lot of people forget Le'Veon Bell averaged 3.3 yards a carry. It is hard to get play action going. It's hard to sustain drives if you're constantly behind the sticks due to your running game. So I'm going to take the over for the New York Jets. The Dolphins are set at 6 games. I'm actually going to go under. I know the Fitzmagic thing is real, but Fitzmagic only lasts a couple of games. I'm going under there at 6. I think we're going to see Tua mid to late season. I know a lot of people are hoping that he sits out the season, get healthy. He is healthy. He is absolutely healthy. It's up to the Dolphins whether they want to play him with nothing to play for. They got an offensive lineman in the second round. In the first round, they added some offensive linemen. They added some weapons. They went in deep into free agency, threw out their pockets. So they got a lot going on there. I just don't think they're going to win more than 6 games. AFC North. You have the Ravens, the Steelers, the Browns, the Bengals in that order. Ravens, 12 wins. I don't think they're going to go 14-2 this year. I think the league is going to catch on to Lamar Jackson. They're going to force him to be more of a pocket passer. I don't care what his accuracy said last year. He was not a very good passer, and that showed in certain games, like the San Francisco 49ers game when he was forced to pass. You know, they were a field goal away from losing that game. You're going to see more teams try to pressure the Ravens and Lamar Jackson into passing the ball. So if he could progress as a passer, definitely, I'm taking the over. But I'm actually going to go 11-5 for this Ravens team, so I'm taking the under. The Steelers set at 9. It really comes into, can Ben Roethlisberger stay healthy? That's up to you. I think Ben Roethlisberger's going to have some rust. The weapons haven't been as great as they have in years past. I think Juju Smith-Schuster is still getting adaptive to being a number 1 wide receiver, so he's got a lot to progress there. I think he does take a step up from what he did last year. He was also injured last year as well. He's also going to have a real quarterback throwing to them. I'm going to push. I think 9 is the perfect number for them. 8.5 at the Browns. I'm actually going to go over on the Browns, 8.5. And that's not to jump on the hype train that everybody else is with the Browns. For those of you that have listened to this show and many other shows that I am involved with, you know that I kind of think this is a put up or shut up for Baker. He's got an offensive line coming in now. They just got to get cohesive. You have the weapons around you. You have a smart GM in the front office. You have a offensive coordinator as a head coach that Kevin Stefanski has done a great job with Kirk Cousins and those weapons there. Now he's bringing that to Cleveland. I think he's going to do a great job in Cleveland. I'm actually taking the over. I think they're going to go 9-7. They could push for the division. I don't think they're quite there yet, but this is the year we finally see, wow, that's why Baker Mayfield was a number one overall pick, because when he does have time, he's very accurate. One of his good traits are being so accurate. Then you have the Bengals set at 5. Honestly, I could see the Bengals hitting 5 wins. Joe Burrow is going to come in. Some games he's going to light up, other games not so much. I think you're going to see a lot of that with rookie quarterbacks, especially being behind the 8 ball with not being able to practice. But Cincinnati Bengals set at 5. I'm going to take a push right there. Before I get into the AFC South, we're going to go to the Mohawk Chevrolet hotline. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Alec from Queensbury, or most famously known as Alec the Eagle Fanatic. Alec, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, good sir. Big show so far, I must say, as always.
I appreciate that. So we're playing some over-unders. Right now I'm at the AFC South. If you want to join me, I have the Colts, Titans, Texans, Jaguars. Let's start off with the Colts. What do you think Caesars Sportsbook has them at? Very close. 8.5. You got to remember Philip Rivers is now their starting quarterback. Frank Wright, you know Frank Wright very well, being in that Eagles organization, helped them win a Super Bowl. He's going to do a lot more with Philip Rivers than he could do with Jacoby Brissett. So I think 8.5 is a good number. This is another division like the AFC East where I believe 9 wins is really going to win this division. So you take a next look at the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans had a very good year, shocked some teams. Derrick Henry finally got off to that start that we were hoping to see from Derrick Henry, that power back horse that he is. What do you think the over-under is on the Tennessee Titans? 8.5 is the number set by Caesars Sportsbook. Another very good number. I think these guys are doing a great job on these numbers because Tennessee Titans, I believe they're going to take a step back. I actually think they're going to hit the 9 wins. It's going to be between the Colts, Titans, and Texans, as it always is. The Jaguars, I'm not a big firm believer in Gardner Minshew. I don't think he played that well last year. I don't think he's going to play that well this year. So let's go with the Houston Texans. They got Deshaun Watson, but obviously they trade away Hopkins. What do you think the over-under is set for the Texans by Caesars Sportsbook?
Well, I would like to see our Eagles take Mr. Hyde. That's my personal opinion. But I see the Texans going at 7.5 or 8.
7.5. I agree with you there, Alex. 7.5 is what Caesar Sportsbook has them. I think they're going to take a step back. I also believe they're going to be able to win 8 or 9 games. Like I said, this is kind of like shaping up like the AFC East where 9 wins could win it, 10 wins clinches it. Let's go on to the AFC West real quickly. Kansas City Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders. According to Caesar Sportsbook, this is one of the more tougher divisions, starting with the Kansas City Chiefs. The over-under is set at 12. What do you think is going to happen there with the Kansas City Chiefs, the reigning Super Bowl champs?
I see them pretty much staying strong, honestly. I mean, Mahomes is only getting better. And a lot of teams are. I think the Chiefs are now like the New England Patriots. You know, the dominant force. You know, the team that you don't know is going to come out of the shadows and come back. These guys are resilient, and that crew is only getting stronger, being together. You really didn't lose that many pieces this offseason, and Andy Reid's going to just keep tugging along like he always does. I see them doing 12 or 13 easily, and I'll definitely go to Rivers and put my money right there.
Money where your mouth is. I like it. I actually think something that underrated happened in the NFL draft right at the end of round one. They get Hyde Hilaire from LSU, an absolute stud at running back. He can catch the ball out the backfield, has a great spin move. I watched him a lot at LSU, being an Alabama fan and an SEC fan. I think that's the perfect complement. They get like a Shady McCoy, Brian Westbrook type of feel with Andy Reid in that Chiefs offense. So I really like what they did there. You wouldn't believe the over under on the Chargers. They have it set at 8.5. Do they know something we don't know? I know that defense is going to be dominant, but are we going to believe that much in Tyrod Taylor? Or is it going to be Justin Herbert from Oregon? I'm actually going to go under 8.5. What about you, Alec?
I honestly think that they are in a rebuilding phase now with their veteran quarterback not being there, a new coach. I mean, they're coming off a 5-11 year. They had a very bad last part of their year, very bad last part of their year. So they ended the season badly, which I think personally, if I was playing for a professional football team, whether it be the Chargers, the Eagles, whoever, I would be more motivated to come back with a vengeance the following year. I don't know about any other guy's mentality, but that's where you need to be, and you need to figure out ways within to better yourself fundamentally, have fun with the game, but still win them.
I agree.
That you should be.
I agree. The Chargers that always get off to a slow start and then normally roll towards the end of the season, we need to see the opposite. Start off good. Let's jump to the NFC East. You being an Eagles fan, if you heard my earlier caller, you had the Cowboys 9.5, Eagles 9.5, Giants 5.5, Redskins 4.5. Give me your take, the over unders, and what you think about the Vegas odds right there.
I see the Giants coming in at 8 and 8, either 8 and 8 or they're going to do some crazy stuff. I see the Redskins rebuilding. I see them coming in maybe 6 wins, maybe 7 wins. The Cowboys are going to get upset. The Eagles are going to go 11 and 5 or 12 and 4. Those guys, I don't know what it is. I'm not speaking just from a fan standpoint, but there's a lot going on that a lot of fans don't know about. I cannot wait to see the new game plans next year. I'm actually anxious to see how CeeDee Lamb does with Dallas. I'm not going to pull any punches with that. Dallas has a lot of tools to keep up with us. You know, it'll definitely come down to a one game is decides it all, just like it did last year. You know, granted, we came through, but then we lost it in the playoffs, but it doesn't matter. We still made it. You know, granted, we were, 9 and 8, 8 and 8. An 8 and 8 game, what?
Yep. All right, Alec. Thanks for calling in the show. I got to let you go. I'm running out of time, but I appreciate you calling in. Alex Sports Talk on Spotify, right? Sounds great. Appreciate it. Thanks. That was Alec the Eagle Fanatic. You can check out his podcast on Spotify or Google Play. Real quickly, running out of time here. NFC West, Niners, Seahawks, Rams, Cards. You got 4 very solid team. I don't think the Cards are quite there defensively. Offensively, they got added some weapons. Kyler Murray in his second year with an outstanding offensive mind as their head coach. I think they're going to do a great job there. But over under at 7.5, I'm going to have to go under. Rams 8.5. This is a make or break year for Sean McVay. I think people caught on to him a little bit. He's going to go into the offseason, try to change up his game plan. I'm actually going to go over. I'm going to say 9 and 7 for the Los Angeles Rams. Seahawks set at 9.5. Niners at 10.5. I think those are very good numbers. It's going to come down to those two teams, and it did last year. It's going to do it again this year. Tune in next Sunday at 11 a.m. for the Love of Sports. Fox Sports 980 and 95.9 FM. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and enjoy the weather.
The Department of New York Veterans of Foreign Wars and Auxiliary reminds you that on Memorial Day, take time to remember those who died so America could.